Go ahead.
Hello, and welcome again to another segment of CASA Cares. My name is James Washington, and today we have a special guest. We have Vicki Jackson, who is our Fostering Futures Coordinator, and she's here to share with our viewers the whole concept of what Fostering Futures is. Vicki Jackson.
Thank you, James. Hello, everybody. Richland County CASA received a grant from National CASA that allows us the opportunity as guardians to work with youth ages 14 to 17. Today I'm going to talk to you about Fostering Futures curriculum, the need for Fostering Futures, and some statistics regarding the fostering future of the youth who age out of foster care. Jimmy Carter once said, "There is probably no group of young people in America more at risk than those who have aged out of foster care." And in 2008, the Fostering Connections and Increasing Adoptions Act was developed to allow youth in foster care the opportunity to stay in the foster care system until the age of 21. Fostering Futures was developed by a grant that's backed by Walmart Foundation, and the goal is to work with youth to help them transition from foster care to adulthood. The purpose of this grant is to train guardians who work with youth ages 14 to 21, learn how to guide their youth so that they can become more focused on their future. And we as guardians will only work with the youth until they're age 18. And once they age out of the system, or once they turn 18, we'll no longer be a guardian. However, I highly encourage you to keep that relationship between that youth, because you can be a great mentor for them in the future once they do transition from foster care to adulthood. So what is Fostering Futures? Well, it's a pilot program that's used to assist volunteer advocates in working more effectively with youth in foster care and to help improve their outcomes when transitioning from foster care to adulthood. The Fostering Futures focus, again, is to work with youth ages 14 to 21 by setting goals for youth's future and giving clear ideas on how they can achieve these goals. We'll also empower the youth with practical knowledge so that they know how to schedule doctor's appointments, find housing, and engage in healthy relationships with families and friends. And as a guardian, you do not have to do that on your own. You can check in with available resources such as the group homes, foster care workers, DSS, caseworkers, agencies such as South Carolina Youth Advocacy Program, who provides independent living services to youth that are living in therapeutic foster homes. The Fostering Futures curriculum uses the possible selves model as a way to engage youth in their own lives by having them visualize a positive self-identity to work towards. And later on, we'll go further into that. But today, we're just going to talk about several other little things. It's also a blended learning. It has an e-learning component and an in-person training. And then there's learning evaluations that National CASA uses to measure what learning took place over the course of the curriculum. The objective Fostering Futures curriculum for older youth is to increase the likelihood of setting goals for their future and having clear ideas on how to achieve them, and empower youth with practical knowledge by helping them, once again, learn how to schedule doctor's appointments, find housing, and engage in healthy relationships. The goals of Fostering Futures curriculum for volunteers will help GALs be more aware of the needs that older youth typically have and the resources within the local community to assist these youth. You'll complete a curriculum that'll help you better equip you to work alongside these youth to help them realize their outcomes with the unnerving statistics that typical youth who age out of the system will help correct those statistics. Why the need for Fostering Futures? According to the Casey Family Programs, approximately 25,000 youth ages 18 to 21 age out of foster care each year. Many are ill-prepared to live independently and figure out on their own how to do what the foster care system was set up to do for them, such as feed them, clothe them, and house them. The age out of foster care without a permanent home is the highest risk outcome for youth in foster care. Some statistics about older youth who age out: 1 in 5 experience being homeless after 18. 1 in 4 will be involved in the justice system within 2 years of leaving the foster care system. And 58% of youth in foster care will graduate by age 19. Those not in foster care have an 87% graduation rate. The Chapin Hall Midwest study is a study that followed young people from Iowa, Wisconsin, and Illinois as they transitioned out of foster care into adulthood. This study followed the youth from ages 15 to 26 and found out that by the age of 21, 31% reported being arrested, 15% reported being convicted of a crime, and 30% reported being incarcerated. Our prison systems are basing their future on these statistics. And so our job in the Fostering Futures is to help correct those statistics or help change the outcomes of our youth so that those statistics do lower. And then when it comes to the future of our jail systems, they'll realize that there's not a need for the jails that they have built, because the outcomes of our youth have been so much more successful. Males in foster care are 4 times as likely to have been arrested as the general population. And according to the Cutler Consulting LLC in 2009, they estimated that approximately 2,600 young people each year will have serious and prolonged involvement in the criminal justice system. So now we're going to talk about youth development. Adolescent development represents the period that bridges childhood to adulthood. Adolescents move between 2 columns like in a fluid way, appearing to be more childlike one day and the next appearing to be more adult-like. Due to this constant state of flux, adolescents experience more cognitive dissonance than any other developmental group. For example, they frequently have conflicting thoughts and feelings at the same time. Behaviorally, adolescents are trying out new skills, behaviors, and habits. They are all in an extended period of trial and error, determining what will work best for them. Many times, these determinations are made based on what feels most gratifying at the time. Therefore, adolescents experiment with beliefs, religions, sex, drugs, alcohol, education, and employment. Adolescents' decisions are often puzzling and illogical to the adult mind. Decisions can be impulsive and with poor judgment exercised on a regular basis. Many of their decisions are based on emotional responses. This kind of leads into talking about the frontal lobe, which is the frontal part of your brain, which includes your judgment, organization, planning, and strategizing. Beginning around the age of 11, the brain undergoes major reorganization in an area associated with things like social behavior and impulse control. The frontal lobe is the part of the brain. So according to Lynn Ponton, a psychiatrist at the University of California, San Francisco, adolescence is a time of risk-taking. It's a big part of adolescence is learning how to assess the risk in an activity. Part of the reason teenagers aren't good at risk-taking is that their brain is not fully developed. And many of you will often think, oh my gosh, that's what's wrong with my teenagers that I'm dealing with. Their frontal lobe's not fully developed, and they don't have the capability to completely understand the repercussions of their actions. It doesn't reach full maturity. The frontal lobe does not reach full maturity until mid-20s. So looking at it from this perspective, it is no big surprise that accidents are the leading cause of death among adolescents, or that teens are more likely to become crime victims than any other age group. It is also no wonder that the vast majority of alcoholics and smokers get started during their teen years, or that a quarter of all people with HIV contract it before the age of 21. Now I want to talk to you about the mentor versus advocate. Mentoring involves developing a personal relationship with the youth, being a buddy serving as a role model. So when you come in as a guardian, we all know that we're here as advocates to do what's in the best interest of the child. And in your role as a guardian, you will be a mentor. But for sure, when you're working with youth ages 14 to 18, you're definitely going to be that mentor for them. So along with advocating, you mentor these youth. You help them find out what their goals and aspirations are for the future. You discuss them with them. You want to move away from their basic needs to more of a future-focused planning. And by that, you sit down with the youth, you talk to them, you find out what their goals are when they graduate high school. What do they want to do? Do they want to go to college? Do they want to go to vocational tech school? Do they want to get a job? And then help them research those things that they're interested in. Give them the tools by maybe giving them an assignment. I currently have a youth that I'm working with that wants to become a cosmetologist. So her assignment this week is for her to look up cosmetology schools, find out how long it takes for her to go through the cosmetology school, and what is the cost of cosmetology school. And then we'll sit down and figure out what she needs to do so that she can meet the grades, so that she can graduate high school, so then she can go on and obtain that goal. Some of the things when working with youth is to keep in mind is that their ideas and their hopes and their dreams are going to change each week or each month when you visit. So next month she could be interested in becoming a nurse. And when you're looking at these future-focused training, you're allowing her to try on different hats so that she can figure out exactly what she wants to do when she gets once she's graduated. So some tips that I have for you as a volunteer is to move your planning discussions away from concern with temporary placement issues and behavior management of the teens toward long-term planning for education and employment. Promote ways for foster parents, family members, and service providers to support the teams. And you can do that by talking to everyone. When you sit down and talk with the youth, ask the youth if they know how to sort their laundry. Do they know how to read a recipe? If they don't know how to do these things, you can talk to their foster care worker or the group homes, find out if there's a way that you can help this youth plan the next meal. Or set up the next time that you visit with that youth, we're going to sort your laundry, so keep it. Make sure that it's okay with the foster care worker or the group home, that you can help them sort their laundry and know the difference in lights and darks and how they need to do that. Because when they're in foster care, their needs are being met. They're having things done for them. Their appointments are being scheduled, someone's buying them clothes, they're being fed, and so they don't have to think about those immediate needs. Also, connect the teens with a network of adults to help them with education and employment. Give family members and teens opportunities to build relationships by focusing together on the future. And then integrate the youth in foster care into the larger community by getting them out there, maybe find out if they're interested in certain things like forensic psychology. Maybe there's a summer camp out there that we can get the teen involved. You can always call me. I can check available resources. We can see if there's anything out there so that this teen can get a taste of what that job is like and maybe what they need to do in order to reach that goal. So in the studies following up this future-focused training, they found that the planning was linked to increased time spent doing homework, decreased in-class disruptiveness, it improved grades, it increased in-class initiative taking, and it reduced the risk of depression. And the reason for that is when you're sitting down with this youth one-on-one, you're listening to them, and for the first time, they're being heard. And you're talking to them about things that have to do with their focus. You're doing more planning. And sometimes youth just need someone to listen. Sometimes youth need a different perspective. And so when you can provide that for them, they can become more successful once they leave foster care. So today we talked about the reason why Fostering Futures was developed. We went over the Fostering Futures curriculum, the need for Fostering Futures. We talked about some statistics. We also talked about youth development and mentor versus advocate. Before I leave with today, I would like to read you a story. It's called the Starfish Story. One day, a man was walking along the beach when he noticed a boy hurriedly picking up and gently throwing things into the ocean. Approaching the boy, he asked, "Young man, what are you doing?" The boy replied, "Throwing starfish back into the ocean. The surf is up and the tide is going out. If I don't throw them back, they'll die." The man laughed to himself and said, "Don't you realize there are miles and miles of beach and hundreds of starfish? You can't make any difference." After listening politely, the boy bent down, picked up another starfish, and threw it into the surf. Then, smiling at the man, he said, "I made a difference to that one." All I ask is for you to try to make a difference in one child's life. Be that mentor, that advocate for them. Speak out for them and do what's in the best interest of them. And if you do get assigned a case that has a youth ages 14 to 17, please contact me so that I can further train you on the Fostering Futures program. Thank you.